So we are here with Jo Woodfield, and we are talking all things brand. So why did you start business in the first place, Jo?
Hi guys. I started the business back in 2015. Basically, leaving Ray's, I was working for a lovely group of guys in Perth called Ray's, and I'd had a health challenge. So I made a decision to sort of go out on my own and start my own consultancy business called The Higher Mix, which mostly centered around brand and culture and employer brand services back in 2015. So I've always been in brand strategy in one way or another for the last 15, 20 years. I was working at OTM Brand in London, which is sort of where I started my journey on strategic branding. So
certainly worked with a lot of the big players around town, and you've built a
yeah,
very big
yep.
name for yourself.
Yes, that's right. I've worked with a lot of different companies, and either when I was at Ray's or whilst I'm leading the Higher Mix team. So many of those, and that includes sort of sizable companies like and groups like New South Wales Government. So we built the employer brand for the whole state of New South Wales. So which was quite an exciting project, but a lot of resources companies, mining companies, and groups like that, and also more recently subsea engineers. So yeah, until a recent challenge that I had. I seem to be plagued by health challenges. So the recent problem I had was in June and July this year. I had a burst brain aneurysm. So, and that burst while I was sort of standing, in the living room. And thankfully, my sister called the ambulance in time and got me to the hospital. But two hospitals, I was both at Charlie's and also at Fiona Stanley, who doing the rehab, who were wonderful. Both the hospitals were wonderful. Did a great job managing to save my life and bring me back. So
you look remarkably healthy, Jo, for someone that's gone through that and not that long ago.
Yeah, thank you. That's the thing about an acquired brain injury. You can look great on the outside, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're great on the inside. So it's a little slow road back, and I'm getting there. But it's like I chatted to you before, Paul. It's a great chance for me to transition now into something different, less consulting, management consulting, which was fairly hardcore, and move over to becoming an owner of a tech company. So my big passion is to build Brand Generate. That's GNR8, number 8, Brand Generate. And the big thing there is that we can try and attempt to build this app which will put the power of building a brand into anyone's hands worldwide, very like Canva does for design, but ours is evidence-based branding, strategic branding. So
I'm super excited to hear about this one, because the size of the opportunity is
mammoth.
That's a great word for it, isn't it? It's absolutely mammoth. What the possibilities are. So let's talk more about that, because I'm really excited to hear about it.
Sure. Okay, so given the fact that I've been in brand strategy and strategic branding and marketing for the last 15, 20 years, we've spent a lot of time and a lot of money, just under $1 million worth of money invested developing IP, intellectual property, and program materials for developing brands. And they were all, these materials were designed by a wonderful creative agency called Glide here in Perth. So they're all pretty slick materials, and they're all ready to go into the app. So with my background and my expertise in branding, coupled with this multi-million-dollar IP, we're raising money now to develop and to bring to fruition the Brand Generate app. It's going to be a wonderful app that is very robust.
Yep.
What I mean by that is not a no-code app or even a simple app that's going to be developed. It's going to be developed using AI, machine learning, and data scraping. We need this app to do some very strategic, heavy lifting for people behind the scenes when it's building their brand for them. So as we know, there's people building brands everywhere. They're starting a business. They might be starting coffee shops in Canada or something like that. We don't even know where they are. So because this thing will have machine learning, the more programs and the more brands it builds in certain sectors, the more this thing will learn. So we're trying to raise $2 million right now for this app, at which point, basically we've done all the branding and all the marketing and all the front end of it. We were really keen to make sure that we had the positioning for this app sorted before we actually started to develop the technology, which is it's sort of counterintuitive in a way. It's the other way around, but it works very well that way because it means as soon as we can get the product built, we can hit the ground running and get it built, get it out there, get it in user testing, A/B testing, and we can, the number one thing at the moment is we get a working prototype as fast as we can.
When you're talking that, what sort of time frame do you think it's going to take?
Well, we're sort of poised because we've been working bootstrapping behind the scenes on Brand Generate for the last year and a half. We're fairly advanced, but now we're poised waiting for the money, the designers. But then that said, when the investor comes, we've had interest from the Israeli groups, and we've also had interest from other overseas groups from other countries, Singaporean, for example. So now I always thought that we'd align with a tech company, that it would be a really good fit to align with a tech company to produce, first of all, to come up with the money to bring me across and for us to work together and produce this app, because there's a nice synergy there with that technology company, so we can all speak each other's language. So, but it remains to be seen because, say, for example, with this Singaporean Malaysian group that we're talking to at the moment, they are in technology and it might be something they want to own the rights for. So it might become a Malaysian or Singaporean sort of venture as opposed to an Australian venture. So, we've got everything on the table at the moment, and we've even been talking to Blackbird and groups like that. But if I'm being really honest, I'm not too keen on venture cap at the moment. I'm more keen to get the seed from a tech company or an angel who wants to get in the coalface, because as you say, this mammoth, huge opportunity, crunching the numbers, we're talking about an annual recurring revenue of 420 million a year. And that's big money, So yeah. It has to be the right money that we get. With the right sort of attitude and people who can take a place on the advisory board that we already have, which has got some pretty smart operators on our advisory board, and just help us bring it to fruition from there, and to save me from myself. That's very important, because otherwise I'll be giving out ESOPs everywhere, share options everywhere. So that's their job, to save me from myself. Really.
Well, that's pretty important, and you've saved yourself from yourself in terms of your injuries and your hospital and your recovery.
Yeah.
So looking forward. So what's inspiring you the most at the moment?
I think, well, not necessarily from a positive perspective. I'm very inspired by the turmoil that the world is going through. I'm very worried. Certain countries are worried for themselves, but that's. If you can be inspired from really negative things happening, that worries me, and I'm keeping a close eye on what's going on out there. Yep. I think it's been a passion of mine to have Brand Generate come to fruition for many, many years. and I just need to knuckle down and focus on making sure that happens. So I'm on income protection at the moment. Do I want to stay on this? Absolutely not. I want to try and transition next year. We can raise some money for Brand Generate, where I can be working full time on Brand Generate. That's what inspires me.
That's your passion, and that's what you're excited about the most, isn't it? You can just
but other people
you light up with it. Yeah.
It's they're a lot worse off than me. I'm surrounded when I'm doing my rehabilitation at OT by people who, are in wheelchairs or they can't put two words together. And I thought, if I wasn't so lucky to get to the hospital that quickly, I would have been in exactly the same boat. They inspire me and how they're working hard to try and come back from that ABI, acquired brain injury. Yeah. So, but for me, I'm one of the lucky ones. Yeah.
And Jo, finally, if somebody, and sorry, it's my last question. If somebody wants to talk to you about investing, is that something that you're open to?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Please get in contact, and you can send me an email at jo @ Brand Generate, all one word, brand, BRAND, GNR and number 8, brandgenerate.com. But you can send it there, or if you just cyber stalk me, you'll find me on LinkedIn or any of the other socials.
The way to do it. Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.